this is Dan Smith of DPS Legal Counsel, and welcome to today's video and podcast episode of Legal Scrubs. Today I'm going to be talking about a recent addition to the frequently asked questions that appear on the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services OIG website dealing with COVID-19. What this most recent addition to the FAQs list involves is a question whether or not it is permissible for a physician group that contracts with a nursing home to provide care to its residents during the period of COVID-19, whether that physician group is permitted to provide protective equipment, face masks, that type of thing, to the nursing home, either free at no cost or at a discounted price. And the answer, to just cut to the chase, the answer that the OIG provides is that yes, it is permissible, but it has certain conditions that make it permissible. So let me just back up and talk about what the issue really is. The OIG has in the past made it clear that it could be a problem, it could be a violation or a potential violation of the federal anti-kickback statute for health providers, doctors, physician groups, those people, those kinds of providers, healthcare providers, to provide goods or services to either actual or potential referral sources at either no cost or at a discounted cost. The reason is that if a doctor or physician group provides an incentive for a actual or potential referral source to make referrals to that doctor or that physician group, for which payment might be made under a federal payment program such as Medicare or Medicaid, then that appears to be potentially a kickback, which is prohibited by the federal anti-kickback statute. So that's why, in general terms, provision of goods or services at no cost or at discounted cost to potential referral sources is not a good idea, and it may result in a potential violation of the federal anti-kickback statute. The question that has been added to the frequently asked questions on the OIG website is, how about now during COVID-19? Can a physician group provide face masks to a nursing home with which it contracts to provide services at no cost or at a discounted cost? And the answer is yes, it can, because of the fact that we're in a global pandemic with COVID-19. But there are 4 conditions that have to be met in order for this not to be a problem. First, it needs to be the case that the provision of the protective gear, the face masks, to the nursing home by the physician group is to address a need by the nursing home for those face masks at the current time because of a lack of supply, a lack of disruption in the supply chain. In other words, that the nursing home actually needs these during this time of the global pandemic. And that's the first requirement. The second is that the provision by the physician group to the nursing home at either a no-cost method or at a discounted cost can only be made and it can only be done during the time that the pandemic declaration is in effect. In other words, during the time that we are in this global pandemic emergency and that there is this global pandemic declaration. The third requirement is that the physician group cannot market the fact that it is providing the face masks free or at low cost to the nursing home. It cannot make that as a part of its marketing. In other words, it needs to be able to provide the face mask to the nursing home, but it can't really market that it is willing or has done that kind of thing. And the fourth and final requirement is that the physician group cannot condition the provision of this protective gear, the face masks, to the nursing home on getting referrals from the nursing home for services that would be provided, would be paid potentially by a federal payment program such as Medicare or Medicaid. In other words, you can't provide these masks to the nursing home in return for referrals. So there you go. With the COVID pandemic, a lot of things are different than they were before in the healthcare field. This is just one of those things, but it does point to the fact that the statutes that apply generally to healthcare workers, doctors, and others, still applies during the global pandemic. It may be that the OIG or other parts of our government are making exceptions to the rules, but you need to make sure that if you are a healthcare provider, there is a clear exception that has been made by OIG or HHS or CMS before you take an action that would otherwise be a problem, because the rules still apply. It's just the fact that right now, in certain cases, the federal government is making some general exceptions to the rules, and this is one of them. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be glad to talk to you about your question. Until we talk again, this is Dan Smith of DPS Legal Counsel, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Legal Scrubs.